This is an SM Media production. Hi everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Scottish Football Show right here on SM Media. This week we've got an international special, one of the biggest weeks in Scottish football in a long time, so we've got the best we can get. Mark Wilson subbed out, he's done a Steve Clark and made an arse of it. So this week we're joined by Shankers, who's back as usual. Shankers, how we doing?
Aye, good.
Brilliant.
Good.
As I say, Mark Wilson's done a sub, he's made an arse of it. So this week we're joined by the next best Mark Roberts. How we doing?
Next best Mark than him? Than Wilson?
Second best Mark in his own.
By the way, you've actually just made me third best here after Shankers and Wilson. That's half enough of it here. Jesus.
How you doing? What's happening? How's life at Trouten?
Aye, I got injured last week in the warm-up, so I've never been back.
You've become
the old calf. 45-year-old man with a sore calf, you know what I mean? Just, take the wee calf.
You've become the cult hero of this show. Like every week, there's always something comes up about you. Every week, you're the cult hero now.
I don't know if I'm proud of that. I don't know if that's for the right or wrong reasons, but we'll see. We'll see what Trouten's got to say tonight.
Brilliant. As we've touched on as well, we're joined this week as well by a very special guest, former Ayr, former Queen's Park, former Brecon, and the man currently at Alloa, Alan Trouten. Alan, pleasure to have you on, mate. Thanks very much for coming on.
Well, thank you, Scott. Thanks for inviting me, and it's good to have some familiar faces on with me.
What's the memories of these two?
It's great memories. We had a good changing room at the time at Ayr, so nothing but positives about Mark and Mark.
Why is your tongue in your cheek?
I need to watch what I'm saying with you on
it.
Brilliant. But we'll start off where I think we rightfully should start off. Scotland have done it, 22 years. They finally reached a major tournament in my lifetime. Shankers, we'll start with you. Like, how big is that for? What was your thoughts and takeaways for the game, and how nervous was it?
I wasn't really nervous. I thought Scotland were in control most of the game, which I thought I didn't think they would be. I thought Serbia's got a lot of talented players. I didn't think it would be as comfortable as it was. Obviously, it was a perfect 89 minutes, and then just a lack of concentration cost Scotland to go into extra time. But I thought they did deserve it in the 90 minutes overall.
Mm-hmm. Mark, were you surprised with the way Steve Clark set up?
No, I think pretty much that was it. I think the only change in the team I would have had in there was McKenna for Gallagher, but he obviously knows his stuff, so that's why he played the big bucks, because Gallagher was brilliant. But I think the team kind of picked itself for me. But listen, for Shanker's right, for most of the game, Scotland were total in control. Just for about 20 minutes to go, they started letting too many crosses coming in the box, and they started to cause us, especially for Andy Robertson's side, and they were causing themselves a few too many problems. But they were comfortable for most of the game, and then Big McTominay switches off, picks up probably the weakest guy in the pitch at the time, and then they score for it. But at that point, I think penalties was the only way we were going to get through, because I think the subs, it's strange when you see how positive everybody is, and it's brilliant. Listen, we were all excited about it, we were all delighted, but I think if it went the other way, Steve Clark has went for he's a national hero right now, but see if it hadn't worked out the way he did, he would have got chastised for those 3 substitutions. He definitely would have. So that's the fine lines in football. Mm-hmm. But listen, we're there, and it's been 22 years, a long time, and listen, I remember the last time. I grew up watching Scotland in major tournaments, so it's great to get them back there, and I've already got the hotel room booked. Tickets are nearly guaranteed, and I'll probably just walk in. So, it was a great night. Listen, even after you hear the interview as well, the guys, and there's tears in their eyes, it shows you what it means to them, and the way things are now in the world, and especially in Scotland, it was great to get that wee boost and that smile on everybody's face for once.
Definitely. Alan, what as Mark said about the subs, what did you think when they brought the subs on? Were you getting a bit nervous?
Well, we were training, Scott, so I only seen the penalties. Okay. So what I've heard and seen for the highlights, then Scotland did look very comfortable until maybe made the subs, but that's in hindsight. If the subs come on and see it the game at 1-0, then that's not really mentioned. But my biggest, absolutely delighted, but I don't get why Marshall's getting so much praise. He saved a penalty, he's a goalie. Well done, Big Daft goalie, what? He saved a pen. Keepers are there for a reason. Do your job, save the ball. And he's done it. So, well done. Everybody else has scored, that's the hard bit. And he's getting all the praise. Should never be the case in football. Never ever should a goalie get praise like that.
Trout's goalkeepers just stand there all day, but kidding they're tired and all that, and then
exactly.
the comes of the heroes. Nah,
incredible, mate. Incredible. You dived the right way and the ball hit you. Well done. Well done. He's got a song about him now. Folk hero. But great night for the nation.
Drew attention to himself as well by looking at the referee. I was like, just celebrate.
Just run away.
I know. It was baffling. But, like, how do we kind of think, like, we'll touch on, we've got the questions coming up later on the show and a few people have touched on it, but how much will they fancy their chances getting into that group?
I think it's going to be a tough one.
Whoever wants to answer.
The Czech game you need to win, I think, don't you? And then you've got England, who will be favourites up there with Croatia, two very good teams. But get a victory against the Czechs, and then the 3 out of the 4 go through. So you've got half a chance if you win one game. I think Portugal, they won it, didn't they? They drew 3 in the group stages.
That's right, yeah.
The year they won it, they drew the 3 games, went through with 3 points, and I think they only won one game in 90 minutes to win the tournament. I'm not saying Scotland's got a chance of doing that, but I think if you get a positive result against the Czechs, then gives yourself half a chance anyway to get through that group stage when you've got the 3 teams out of 4 progressing.
Mm-hmm. I just want to ask you as well, just who was your man of the match? Like, you can't answer the same, so I'm going to go for, I thought the best player in the park all night was Declan Gallagher. Wilson touched on it last week. I thought he kind of made a wee point that the 2 Motherwell boys were a bit kind of shaky, but I thought Declan Gallagher was absolutely sensational. Just his performance.
I thought Lyndon Dykes.
Yeah,
I think it's the hardest position to play. So strike away back to the goal and playing probably himself. I know Christie was floating off him, but the way Scotland play like long balls up, so you try to hold it, flick-ons and that. It's the hardest position to play, especially a big game like that. And he's not got massive international experience or that either. So I thought he was a standout for me.
No, I've got to go with Shankers on that. Listen, there's nobody else in the park was better than him. He was to play your back to goal so difficult. And do you know what? He bullied 2 big, strong centre halves. They couldn't handle him. Scotland have to realise that they can't get the ball and pass it to the back and play and try to play the way Belgium play or France play or Spain play. They can't do that. Got to play it with strengths. We look a better team, and now we've got somebody up front there that can make us play that way. Every ball went up there, he won the flicks. I would just like to have seen Christie and McGinn get a wee bit closer, or even Dykes win the ball nearer their box. So when we did pick up, we can maybe get a shot away. But listen, he was brilliant. He won every header. He was taking the ball in. He was getting fouls for us. I just thought he was outstanding. And this is a guy who's only played maybe 4 or 5 international games.
Aye.
He was playing with Livingston last season and Queen of the South the season before. It just shows you it's a kind of meteoric rise for him. And listen, I don't think QPR is as high as he can go. I think he can go and play in the Premiership in England because his physical attributes. He's different class. He's not the greatest finisher on the planet, but he's a big handful for players, and centre halves will hate playing against him.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Alan, who was your man of the match?
Well, as I said before, I only seen the pens. I'm just more shocked that Shankers never went for Ryan Jack, the only Rangers player on the pitch. I knew it would be no Celtic players that gave man of the match day. So he's went for, all right, who else isn't a Celtic player? So, as I say, I can't really comment on man of the match, but
Marshall.
Marshall.
He played with Shankers. He played with Celtic, eh, Chad?
But a brilliant day, brilliant night. One of the best nights I can remember following Scotland. But we'll move on. We'll touch on the Betfred Cup quickly, Alan. I want to get your thoughts on this. I've not even seen the draw, so I don't know who's got who. But I'm sure Shankers will fill me in with that. Just touch on who went through. Hearts went through out of Group A. B, Dundee and Hibs. C, St Johnstone get through. Dundee United missed out. D, Ross County and Arbroath qualified. E, Dunfermline and Falkirk, which meant Kilmarnock missed out, so Mark will be raging.
Well, a shambles to the start, and then COVID got them. So
F, again, Mark will be buzzing. A, United are through.
Yay!
G, St Mirren qualified, and Alan's team Alloa and Livingston get through at a Group H. Alan, just touch on like the Alloa's campaign through the groups. Just how hard was it, and how glad I used to be through?
Yeah, we're delighted to get through. I think it's the first time since 2016 the club's been through the group stages, and I've seen where we got, I think we're home to Hearts in the next round, which is obviously a good tie against a very difficult team, but it's another game against a team in the league. Do you know what I mean? It's probably one that you're not wanting, because you're already playing them the 3 times this season, so it'd been good to get somebody different, but it's a team in the league, so we'll win with confidence. But the full campaign, we started with Airdrie, our first game back, and we'd only played 2 pre-season friendlies, and that was obviously after the months off. So it was a difficult period. We won that 2-0. I thought we were pretty good that night. We won that pretty comfortable. And then we went to Livy, and we were excellent first half. We were 1-0 up, and then Livy turned it on, scored 2 early goals at the start of the second half, and then they battled the second half, to be honest. And then we made a few changes for the Edinburgh game, and we managed to win. It was 2-1, I think. We ended up winning the end up. And then yesterday, we made 8 changes for Friday night. So all the boys would be getting game time, and then we were 2-0 down. We were battered, absolutely battered first half yesterday. And I said to a couple of the boys that I think Steny would have been the unhappier team at half time, even though they were winning 2-0. They should have been out of sight. I thought the game should have been done at half time, but once we got the first goal of the second half, then we were well in control. We went on to win pretty convincingly 4-2 in the end. So it was a great comeback yesterday, and it was big for us as players and as the club to get into that next round. So it's us into the last 16 of a National Cup final, so anything can happen in a one-off game, so we're delighted to be in there.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Marco, just want to touch on Kilmarnock quickly with you. Like, how big a blow is that for Kilmarnock to miss out?
Listen, they knew they'd missed 2 weeks ago, especially when they got the first game. They lost it in the first game against Falkirk due to the COVID situation. Then they played Dunfermline, and Dunfermline, it was like men against boys to a certain extent. No in terms of an age thing, because Dunfermline actually had a younger average age that night that they played Kilmarnock. But Kelly played a lot of the boys that had never played before. I think 4 or 5 made debuts that night. But the difference between that is the guys were the same age, but the Dunfermline players had already played first team football. And they were too strong for them in the end, and they won 3-0. So Kilmarnock knew that they were out after that game anyway. So they were just, we put their last 2 games against Clyde and Dumbarton yesterday was just about confidence building and giving fringe players some game time and getting them fit. So at the end of the day, is Kilmarnock going to win that cup? The likelihood is no. They just need to concentrate and getting back to form in the league, because they've stuck a wee bit in the last few weeks. So again, Alex Dyer will be overly bothered about it, I wouldn't think.
Definitely. Shankers, just like as well, like obviously I've not even seen the draw yet, so I don't know. Have you seen the draw, and what's the kind of ties that stand out?
None of them. No,
they're all crap.
I'm struggling for one that stands out. Because it's seeded and unseeded, you're not really getting like a big team against each other till the next round. Celtic are home to Ross County. Rangers are away to Falkirk. Aye, usual, isn't it? That's right. Rangers away to Falkirk. Livingston home to Ayr. St Mirren at home to Aberdeen. Hibs home to Dundee. I don't know how that works out, because they just played each other in the group there. Don't know.
Yeah, I thought if you were in the same group, you couldn't play against each other.
I know.
They made an arse in the group in the draw.
Rod Stewart
was on again.
Arbroath, Dunfermline, and then obviously Alloa Hearts.
Brilliant.
So I don't know what will happen. Motherwell St Johnstone as well. That's all SPL one. That'll probably get the TV just because it's 2 SPL teams, same as Dundee United St Johnstone are night. That was absolutely honking.
Because Motherwell St Johnstone will be better.
But that's we'll look at the Betfred Cup, and we'll be touching the Betfred Cup later on. But we'll move on to our special guest, Alan Trouten. Just a pleasure to have you on, mate. Thanks very much for doing it. It's been a funny career, innit? It's been starting off at just. How was your days like at Morton to begin with?
I was only there as a young boy, Scott. It's just doing the YTS. You're just doing all the jobs, but that was one of the boys will tell you that's one of the most enjoyable time of your career. Just a young boy.
A lot of folks say that.
Aye, and it was entertaining. You had Dean Keenan there, but I knew Dino for growing up and playing the same team. So every day with Dino, Shankers and Marco, can understand what that would be like. So you were just getting in, you were doing your jobs, but it was just a laugh and a carry on. And then you played your football, you done your training, and then had another laugh, carry on, and then you were up the road. So Morton was good. They were doing well at the time, although they were in the lower divisions, they were doing well, had a good side. And then when Cowboy came in, there was only a first team, a reserve team. There's no youth team when he came in, so we had a massive squad. And at that time, I was just wanting to play games. You're training all week, and you didn't, as I say, didn't even have a youth team game to play in. So I was like, I just want to play football. I enjoyed training that, but I would rather be playing at the end of the week. The boys, first team boys, were playing, rightly so, in the Saturday, and then the other 10 or 11 that never played were playing the reserves. So you were maybe getting 20 minutes a week, and for me, I had no interest in that. Dino loved it. He would rather carry on, no play at the weekend, especially when he was younger. That was perfect for him. It suited him, so he didn't need to show his ability at the weekend. But he loved saying, "Oh, I'm a professional footballer," and he done well. So I was happy to move on and get to Queen's Park and started the youth team there, and then play some games.
What was your memories like at Queen's Park? Like, the big game would obviously be beating Aberdeen in the League Cup, but what was the kind of big memories you have for there?
Well, that was another one. That changing room, we were all kind of similar ages. You had a few more that were experienced, but we were all kind of similar ages and very, very good players that went on to have good careers. So we were all kind of pals. You were at your training the 2 nights a week, and then a Saturday, and then you'd all meet up Saturday night, and then in the town, and then at the end of the year, 4 or 5 years in a row, we'd all get 4 or 5 days away in Magaluf. So that was the best times. As I say, some cracking boys, but some very, very good players, and the biggest highlight was obviously beating Aberdeen in penalties, and I was lucky enough to score the winner that night.
Who were the characters in that team?
Oh, there's loads to mention. Stevie Riley.
There's a few stoters in that dressing room, by the way.
Aye. But as I say, boys were all similar. So Stevie Riley, big Tony Quinn, Stevie Cannon. Then you'd like Paul Cairney. Marco will tell you about Paul Cairney. One of the daftest boys you could ever meet. The only guy that could turn out at a day session at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and start by drinking vodka out his shoe. But that's that, and he'd be like Watatano, and he would just down vodkas, and he couldn't handle his drink, Marco, but he would be steaming so early.
Remember the PFA night when he was nominated?
Aye, when he'd signed for this and get loaned back to Queen's Park.
Aye, we were in Barbuda in Socky Hall Street, and so Will goes, let's go up. The thing didn't start till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So let's go up early, maybe about 1, 2 o'clock. We'll be the first ones out. Go out there. Kearney couldn't even chew his fingernails. Absolutely mango. The worst. And by the way, he was up for an award, but he had a wee chance of winning it. I was so hoping he'd win it that night.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious, mate. Because I'd left and went to Clyde, but me and Stuart Kettlewell, we had went back out with the Queen's Park boys, so we met up with them. So we went with them, and Kearney was always up for it. So we were out with him, and by the time he'd left, he'd lost his bow tie, he'd dropped tomato sauce down his white shirt, and as Marcus says, he was up for the award, and it would have been absolutely priceless if he'd had to make a speech. The wee man struggles to speak when he's sober. But when he's steaming, oh my God, you'd have needed subtitles, and he would have spat more than Harry Kane in an interview.
Harry Kane and anti-merengue. True. Can I tell you a story about wee Kearney, right? He just came from Queen's Park, right? So, and then he get loaned back to us. But so we went a night out, and we were out in the West End one night. So we were just, I think it was his birthday. So we're in the toilet. Me and David Rouse are in the toilet. Then I pee in the wee cubicle bit, and you know how you get the wee kind of things that looks like mints. I'm sitting there, so they were all sitting in there, and I'm like, do we use that or do we use that? And there was a glass sitting, so we peed in the glass, right? Took it out to him and says, Kearney, happy birthday, wee man, got your long vodka, get it, didn't you? He's like, by the way, he didn't even just take a sip, he took a massive gulp, and then he just spat it out, and he honestly was throwing punches and everything, man. It was great. He went away home greeting that day, it was a bloody shame. He's a great lad though, he is a great boy. Great fun, but good player too, Trouts.
Aye, very good. At Queen's Park, like we used to have these that it was they had just got new gear. It was Joma, so there was like these 3/4 lengths, and we Kearney loved training in them, and they had zips on them. The wee man used to train with his mobile in his pocket, and he'd be at the end of the queue at a passing drill, and he'd be texting people. But as Marco said, what a player, so much ability, but just nothing between the ears. And went on, had a good moves, good careers at Hibs and stuff, and then at Kelly, but just nothing between the ears, or else he'd have played for longer. I don't even think he's playing anymore, is he?
No, his fitness was a massive. But see, if he kept himself in shape and kept himself slim, he would have had a much better career, because he did get good moves at it.
Yeah, he did.
He just let himself go too much, but talented boy, but brain dead. As brain dead as they come. Shankers, he makes you look like somebody that works with NASA.
We'll move on to your days at Clyde and Airdrie. Like, what's the kind of stories for there?
What was after Clyde and Airdrie? Where's next? Go to them.
Go to there.
Clyde was I signed there after doing all right Queen's Park, and then was there a year, and it was a long year under John Brown, fighting relegation, and just it's one of the ones. Somebody signs you and tells you how they want you to play, and off came and watched you, and then they sign you, and it couldn't be any further for the truth the way they wanted me to play, to be honest. For training, we were told to wear screw-ins. If somebody was playing in front of you, you had to go and smash them, show him that you wanted to play in front of them. There was boys rolling about constantly in training. It was madness. Like, there was a bad winter, and we never seen a ball for like 2 or 3 weeks. We were up to, his mate had a big mansion up at Jackton near the police college. So we trained up there. He had a boxing gym, so we used to do boxing training, and then get flung in the ring. Be like, you spar with him. Don't punch above the neck, but just go for it. And that was what I trained for 2 or 3 weeks, and we were looking at each other like, what the fuck is this? And then, lo and behold, we get relegated. Who would have thought it?
Didn't believe that.
But Airdrie,
so that wasn't great. But some cracking boys, like Gary McSwiggan was there, great guy, very, very, very nice guy. Still bump into him now and then. He's doing his agent, so got a few texts off Swiggy about players, and then like Billy Gibson and stuff. Billy was for you, Thistleway, Billy, Marco.
Billy, who big lip? His lip used to be a lippy.
Big Lego head.
Great guy.
Very, very good player as well. So that was probably the best part about it, was the bunch of boys. And then Airdrie was similar. Like, I signed, and we were in League One when I signed, and then I think it was the Gretna thing. So within, I think it was maybe a week or 10 days before the season started, we get put up to the Championship. So that was hard and tough. We'd signed a team. I think we'd signed a small squad to maybe compete and win the league below. But when we were put up at last minute, we did struggle. We tried to get more players in, and we gave it a good go, and we ended up going down in the playoffs. We get beat by Brecon. So that was another disappointing season.
But we move on to Ayr, and I just want to bring you all in this. Just what are the kind of memories for the days? I'll start with you, Shankers. What's the kind
I was when I made my debut there at the end of the season, but I think that was just like a token gesture. They were already in the playoffs, and that was why the rest, like the bigger players like Marco and can't even remember who else was there.
That was it.
Marco the ball. I made my debut then, but it was just kind of a young 15, 16 kind of training and that, and obviously when the team's doing so well going for the playoffs, you're not really going to get a sniff at that age. Which
but you're not too busy getting into Liverpool and trial and things like that as well.
He's just hanging about the cop.
That worked out all right.
How good a move was that for you, Alan, to get in there? Obviously, the camaraderie is there for all to see now. But how good was a move was that for you?
I was delighted at times, Scott. Absolutely delighted because, as I said earlier, I'm very, very good friends with Dino. So Dino was there, and I spoke to him. He'd said Big Reedy was interested, so managed to get down there, and then I enjoyed it at the time. at the start anyway. I enjoyed it. With some good players. Marco being the best by a mile when we were there, and then we got Morph in around about Christmas time. Morph came in trial in pre-season. Actually, I'm sure he played with Galvin Juniors.
Aye, did I?
And we went down to Annan for a pre-season game, and we get 2 men sent off. And who
started that? Remember?
I remember Stan get sent off for the slotting John Beaton over a throw-in.
That was it, and then Mr. Kane get involved.
Aye, and then so we're walking off the park at half time to go down to Annan, and like the dressing rooms, you could hardly fit one person in the tunnel. So I'm just coming off the pitch, and Dino's like, "Get my back," and I'm like, "What?" That get my back, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I just see him charging, and he goes for the boy Cox. What's going on? So the full 2 teams are getting off their nut or whatever. So the ref comes in, sends Dino off. So that's us down to 9 men, pre-season friendly, 9 men for the second half. Coxie, I think, gets sent off as well, and then sitting next. And so Reedy's went off his nuts, said he's back, and then Dino's like to me, "That's your fault." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You went by him in the first half and he kicked you and he made me angry, so I just had to try and go for him. So that was like the start of it. So I think we get absolutely battered. I think it was about, was it 4-0 or 4-1 or something to get battered, Marco?
I was a sub that day. I think we played like 3 games in quite a short space of time. And Big Reedy said to me, "Down to 9 men, start the second half," goes, "I'm going to pick you on." I was like, "Why, so you are." I made him go and stand up front myself. "Yeah, if you're not."
But then we got
young boys would put Shankers on.
You never came to Newcastle after that, did you?
No, you went straight after that game, didn't you?
We had one of the wee minibuses. Malky Boyle drove the minibus.
Morph went, didn't he?
Yeah, so Morph was in trial. So Morph came. We'd only been in maybe a couple of sessions, and then when we went to Newcastle, bonkers on the minibus. Got there, night out. Me and Dino sharing a room. Woke up in the morning, and the room was just smashed to pieces. Anything that could have been smashed was smashed. At one point, Morph was trying to get the TV out the window, but luckily enough, the latches, because it was a hotel, they must have had like security latches on that you couldn't open, so you couldn't. So that was the only reason the telly didn't go out the window. I remember Dino picking up this fan and just tossing it off the door, so that was smashed on the floor. Every light was booted out. So we've got up in the morning, like hung over, like, oh no. So we've kept quiet, but Malky was the kitman stroke coach. So he was so excited to be away with the boys. So when we got to I was going to say hotel, we got to the Premier Inn or whatever we were staying in, and the woman says, "Oh, I need a credit card for a deposit." So all of us are looking at each other like, no chance. So Malky's so excited, he's like, "Oh, I'll do it. We're like, brilliant. So he put his credit card on it. So we're giving fake names, signing in or whatever, so nothing can get traced back to us. So like I say, in the morning, everything's smashed. And then I think Kenny Conley was there, so Kenny didn't drink at the time, so he's driving the minibus back up the road at the time. So me and Dino are the only 2 drinking on the way home. Cans or whatever, lager, getting all over the roof of the minibus, and Malky's getting off his mat. "Watch these are them with the beers." No ball, Malky. Dino starts emptying his bag of clothes down the motorway, just tossing them out the window. Trainers, shirts, his own clothes, not bothering, just tossing his gear out the window. So we're in stitches. So we've walked in, we've stopped off, they had to get fuel. So fueled up, even in, got another cargo, back on, and then Malky's phone goes. So we are sitting, what's he saying? You can see him getting angry. What do you mean? What? And then his classic statement was, "What do you mean the fan was obliterated?" So as soon as he said that, we've just burst out laughing. And Malky's raging, and we're giving it like just half cut. Shut up and wash my sloggies and all that face in front. And he's just getting angrier and angrier. Great start to their career, that. I think we all get fined in the Monday night. Big Reedy was fuming, called a team meeting. But what a laugh at the time.
That's the first time I've delighted to know you go on a trip.
Nah, you'd enjoyed it, Marco.
I know. I remember coming into training the Monday, and it was like you were all tail between your legs and all that.
Like we boys, mate, got the head teacher's office.
And for the first time in my life, I'm sitting there going, "Brilliant, I'm not involved." They're a disgrace scaffer and all that. They're out order.
But very enjoyable. That was a good
Is that how Morph never got signed this summer? Because somebody told Reedy what he was like in the night out?
No, I think it was because Galvin wanted a bag of balls or something and Earl wouldn't pay for them. That was incredible how he never signed, I don't know. As soon as we seen that side of him off, we were like, get him in, he'll fit in well at this club.
Marco, how good a player was Alan when he first came in? Like, did you see how good he was?
Trout was brilliant. I loved playing with Trout. He was perfect for me because you played right midfield, didn't you, at the four?
Aye, for some reason.
But you were still so comfortable that you would get it and just play around the corner and come and get it off you. Scott McLaughlin was the exact same. It was perfect for me as a striker because I couldn't run away from anybody. But I knew they would always play the ball in the corner and I'd always get it and go and link. Even in training, Trouts, remember me, you and Scotty, Big V used to pick the teams, right? Used to do it like as if you were under 10s, you'd go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So whatever numbers, like, just say I was 1, Trouts was 2, Scotty was 2. They two would just come in my team and we'd just put all the young boys together because all we would do was just pass each other. Remember Prongage? Prongage. We used to just call it Prongage. Me, Trouts and Scotty, we wouldn't pass to anybody else, I paid for each another. Or honestly, we just used to tear them to shreds. And then Ryan McCann would try to get involved with that. Ryan, you're shite, Peter. You can't link up. All he wanted to do was run into the corner with the ball and just start holding folk off and kicking it off each in there. Trouts was class. He was class. He still is class, to be fair. And the one thing I'll say, he's only here, but I would say if he wasn't, there's so many players that play in the lower leagues, like whether it's Championship, League One or whatever, that I can't believe has never went and played long term in the Premier League, and Trouts is one of them. Technically very good, brilliant brain, best penalty taker in the history of the world, better than Tavernier. which is hard to say, to be fair, but no, listen, I just think it's a shame that you've played at the level you have for so long. I think you should have played higher up, but sometimes you don't get the rub of the green, sometimes you're in the right place at the right time, and that's what happens, but you definitely should have played higher up.
Shankers, what memories you got, Alan, when he was there?
Well, as I said, I was pretty young, so I was only maybe got his training and stuff like that, and maybe an odd game, maybe the 19th man or whatever at the odd game. So it's very, very vague. I can't really say too much on it, to be honest.
Yeah, Trouts.
Must have to do the training sessions that you turned up to.
Trouts, make the time with Nico's.
Oh, after coming back from Edinburgh.
You were drinking aftershave.
Me and Moff. Me and Moff were up the back.
Listen,
Moff said Tash about that.
Yeah, I know. That's because it was the Tuies. It was Moff's or Manny Code. We were waiting. There was a queue at the bar. There was a queue at the bar, and then Moff went into his bag for some reason. And then his toilet bag had a bottle of Manny Code, and the Tuies are looking at it. And it says there's alcohol in this, you want to try it? Taking shots after shit. Just while we were waiting on somebody going to the bar. Aye, that was the Sunday after a full Saturday night.
That was hilarious after the Sunday win, especially when we just started in the morning and then you were drinking aftershave about 6 o'clock at night. It was like, wow, what's going on here? And that was the big
times. That was the biggest after all the big pints, mate.
I was the biggest lunatic in the world, honestly, but it was great to see what clowns like you used to do things like that. It was great. I just felt mature for once.
Mature? Do you remember the last time I met you and went up?
No, that wasn't it that night.
Aye, good to see you matured by then anyway.
But let's move on to I'll touch on it quickly, just when you come back to your second time, like obviously Marco had left and Ian McCall was the manager. Just how good was Ian McCall for you?
Yeah, well, it started off well. Was enjoying it, and then as the season went on, kind of changed the shape a wee bit. Went 4-4-2 and wanted to play with 2 strikers, and I played sometimes out wide, and didn't really benefit the way I played and the way I'd been playing the seasons previously at Brecon when I was successful and doing well. So never really get the best out of me, and then that's when I drifted out of the team. The boys were winning games, and I kind of drifted out of the team. Was playing here and there, and playing as a sub most weeks, and then I think I come on towards the end of the playoff final. I think he'd put me on more or less because he knew he was going to penalties, and he knew I had a good record at pens, so I think that was the only reason I maybe got on in the playoff final. But towards the end, I wasn't really enjoying it, and that was the decision that I spoke to the manager at the end of the season. I still done a year in my deal, and I asked if I could just tear it up because the fund had gone. I wasn't enjoying it at all. But I was there for 3 seasons over 2 periods and 2 promotions, semi-final the League Cup. So if you look at that way, it was pretty successful.
Yeah.
Probably the worst part about Ayr was when I went back the first season with Brecon. And some of the shouts, like, fair enough, everybody gets abused playing football, but there was one shout in particular that my uncle had just passed away at leukemia, and one of the shouts was, Trouten, I hope you're the next one in your family to die of cancer. And I was just like, come on, take fuck. Like, there's shouts and then there's just scumbags. So that was probably the hardest bit, and one of the reasons that once I've been back, I've tried my best to do well down there.
Mm. But you talk about your days at Brecon and Albion, like obviously Albion you met Scotty McLaughlin, like just sum up Scotty, just obviously I want to ask Marco about him as well, just maniac.
Well, I'd been at Airdrie and Ayr with Scotty, so I knew the character was walking into the dressing room, and I think that team, Albion needed him. It was quite a quiet dressing room, and Scotty just livened it up, 100 miles an hour, just wants to carry on, and he's great fun. Very good professional, still fit. You see the stuff he's doing now, just waking up randomly running marathons, absolute madman.
What
a character! What a character!
Yeah,
I think you need that in football. I think some of the younger boys probably struggle with him in the dressing room because he is full on, but he doesn't take it. He's not meaning to heart, but if you know that, then but he can be ruthless with some boys, but some of the stuff he gets up to is hilarious.
He told the story last week, which I think is amazing. See that, I just want to ask you, Marco, about it. See the story with Huts with the minibus.
See, any day with Huts is up there with Paul Kearney. They're just not right in the head. They're just daft people. See, Scotty was my cup of tea. He was just great fun in the dressing room, and he was harsh, really, really harsh with boys. And as Trout said, some boys probably couldn't handle him and thought it was, folk would turn around nowadays and say, that's brilliant. It was just a great laugh. Because see, when he went on the training pitch, he would definitely help them, and he was serious. He was a crab at shite on the training pitch as well. But he was a great professional, but in the dressing room, all the things he used to go up to, me and him were kind of thick as thieves, to be fair. We used to just, right, who we picking on the night, we'd go and get them, just in the dressing room, just sit next to them and just destroy them. It was great, a great day. Big Bobo used to get it all the time. Remember Big Bobo, he was 6'5", built like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Used to get him, and greet and all that, and tell his missus that we were picking on him. But no, he was talking watching by what a player Scotty was too. Yeah. What a brilliant just midfield player. By the way, left and right foot, you wouldn't know what fit he kicked with. Again,
remember I used to take in swinging corners with both feet. You were comfortable.
He could do the Rabona with either foot. Remember, 30 yards hit the crossbar with a Rabona. He was great, but what a character. Again, that's one thing that there's not enough left in the game. Guys like Scotty and just who used to brighten up a dressing room when things were going right, he'd come in and just get it going again. And as I say, he was my cup of tea because he was always up to the same shit I was up to. So he was good. He was top notch.
But Alan, you're on to Alloa now. Like how enjoyable has that spell been for your career?
Yeah, absolutely loving it. It's a very, very good club, very well run, and the boys in there are absolutely brilliant and very good players that should be playing at a higher level. So we've got a good mixed experience, boys. I think there's been a core there. I think maybe came in under Jack Ross, and then the managers following on after Jack has managed to keep them. So it's a very good core, and then we've added some good players as well. So we're doing not too bad just now. We need to pick up a wee bit in the league, but I think we'll get there with the quality that we have in some of the boys.
Brilliant. We put the feel out for some questions for the fans, and we put some I feel out for some questions for players that have played with all three guys, and we got a tremendous response as usual. But I just want to touch on quickly just a question I got for Scotty McLaughlin. Ask the boys about Ole and Barbuda. Just who's starting with that?
Oh man, but I mean Barcelona was playing. Again, another night that we were pretty sober again. Jesus. So Scotty McLaughlin up to no good. But you got Barcelona were playing and we were just keeping the ball, and it was brilliant. So Scotty starts Ole every time. So we would get the whole pub involved in shouting Ole every time Barcelona passed the ball. But Scotty was just all he was doing was getting vodkas, and as soon every time they pass or do something good, Scotty would just throw the glass up in the air and smash it. He must have smashed about 352 glasses that night. Honestly, we were walking about and all you could hear was see, honestly, bouncers eventually put us out. The place was an absolute mess, but again, that was another one that he got involved in, just up to no good all the time. And another one in I think it was Mosquito one night. It was a big game on the TV.
I was there for Mosquito. I wasn't at Barbuda, so don't click me in that. I was Mosquito.
Listen, I wasn't want to get involved with him in Barbuda that night. I was just standing there with him, but he was the one smashing all the glasses. Aye, right. So, remember the game was on, and I thought it was a massive game, and Scotty just kept walking about, he just kept turning all the tellies off. And then the guy with the barman would come in and put the telly back on, Scotty would just walk up, turn the telly back off. And honestly, man, he was the most annoying human being ever when he was in one of the moods, but so funny.
Brilliant. And
there's loads more like that with him, Jesus.
Brilliant. Alan, the battle in Nando's, what happened there?
That was hopefully the Sean Higgins watches actually get flung about off he get flung about the full Nando's. Higgy will hate this. He's so angry, Higgy, and he hates the fact that Big Mick McMullen battered him in Newcastle and Nando's. So I'll just leave it at that. I just want Higgy to watch this and I just want everybody to know that Mick McMullen battered them in Nando's in Newcastle.
How raging is he going to be when he sees this?
Mate, he'll be fuming, he'll be texting me. I can't believe you said that, but I'm just telling the truth. He got battered in Nando's and he done nothing about it. He just accepted it.
Did he just accept it, Trout?
Just accepted it, mate, and just went up the road.
Bad man. You're a bad man.
Mate, see after it, right? See after the thing with Big Mick, right? So we're standing in a pub. So our game was off the Saturday. So we've met in a pub in Coatbridge at 1 o'clock, I think. Right? So and then the bus was booked for 2. So that's been us 1 o'clock on Saturday. I'm sharing a room with Scotty, right? So and Big Pez and one of the young boys. So we've got a crate, mate. So we've had like 2 hours sleep up in the morning, back on it. So this has happened in Nando's maybe about 6 or 7 the Sunday night. So we've had like 2 hours sleep, mate. So after Higgy's been battered, he's accepted it, right? We went to a pub. And they're like, Scotty, and you're like, Higgy, can't believe you've been battered off a Big Mick. Like, just whispering in his ear. He's raging. So I'm so tired, so I've just gave out a wee yawn, and Higgy's like, Touts, who the fuck you yawning at? And I'm like, Higgy, what are you talking about? Aye, he just fucking yawned at me. Right, let's go. And I was like, Higgy, calm down, mate. That's how angry he was. He was angry with me saying that I was yawning at him. That's what his head was. Oh, he was absolutely fuming. Man.
That's probably because he get battered, so.
Exactly, mate. Second prize punch bag.
Higgy, if you watch this, I'm not getting involved. Trout started it. So.
Marco's just texted me to tell it like that.
And finally, just before we move on to the fan questions, Hold 18, who's responsible for that?
One guy, Brian Mead. Brian Mead was the first leg of the playoff against Brecon, playoff final, Marco?
First leg against Brecon.
And he just wanted, we were to the last training session, he just brought in, we were going to, if Brecon got a wide free kick, somebody was just, I think I was to take the shout for some reason.
Why would you, the most undisciplined
the most aggressive in the air. So I should have just been concentrating picking up the biggest guy. Right, I should have just been doing my job, picking up and winning headers.
So basically he says, we're going to shout, hold 18, and at the last minute we all run out. So a wide free kick against Brecon in the playoff final, wasn't it?
Aye, first leg at Somerset.
Hold 18. Everybody runs out apart from one guy. The ball gets played in. They must have about 6 guys or 7 guys inside. Take a touch, pass it in the net. We're like, oh no, why did we do that? Nearly lost it getting promoted because of that stupid Hold 18 shout. Hold 18! That's what Big Reedy would shout for the side. Hold 18! Who was it stayed in? Was it Cancel?
Ryan McCann, aye.
So Ryan McCann is a mooner basically, and I see him looking up at clouds going, I think it might rain tonight. Ball comes in, the boy, I think it was Yanni that scored.
I think it went straight in for the free kick, Marco. I don't think anybody's touched it in the middle, mate. I think it's just like bounced in.
But there could have been about 6 players that could.
Yeah, did that happen? Aye.
So cheers for that. But listen, we pulled them out the water anyway in the final, so it doesn't matter.
Who scored the winner?
And the Moon Man, Moffat.
Moffat. Oh, did you score the first, Marco?
Scored the first one, and then Moff scored
the first one,
3 pitch invasions in the one night. Outstanding. Standing by the way.
But see, while we're on that, Marco, I just wanted to touch on the first question. Like, obviously last week we talked about it a wee bit. Like, a lot of folk asked us, like, do you regret not taking Dino back to save your job at Ayr?
Who asked that? Dino?
That question came from who?
DMK 85.
DMK 1985. I wonder who that is.
Brilliant. Now, to be fair, listen, see at the very end of my time at Ayr, I actually tried to get Dino to come back. I needed an absolute dog. I needed a horrible shite to come in and play in the team because the team was too soft at the end up. And I wanted to get him back in, but I think it was a couple of weeks. I don't think he was fit enough or something like that. 3 weeks later, I end up getting the bullet anyway. But listen, Dino, Jesus, we can't even tell stories about him. I'll get to jail, or he'll get to jail. So.
But DMK 1985 has asked a couple more questions. Like, he asked the question to you, Aldo. Why did their manager sign Aldo as a number 10, then play him in the wing where he was less effective?
I don't know. I think that'd be questions for the managers.
Definitely.
I was playing when their managers came watch me. I maybe started in the right, but I had that freedom to drift. And then when I went here on both occasions, it wasn't really the way I was allowed to play there. So I wasn't effective as I should have been. But I think other clubs that have proven that if I'm given that freedom, then I can do a half decent job for the team. But I don't know why the managers. But as I say, Rudy got us promoted into a semi-final of the League Cup, and Ian McCall got us promoted for the season I was there. So looking back, it was successful three separate, 2 promotions and a League Cup semi-final. We were beaten just in extra time at Kelly at Hampden. Yeah.
I've touched in that with Moffat and Marco, and it just seems to be one of the days that you'll just regret for the rest of your days. Like, can I go with that?
Oh well, I would. To be fair, we get battered for the full game. We just sat in, we just camped in. I think if we'd have got to penalties, we'd have been happy and we'd have took our chance. But it was just an onslaught for the first minute. But it was heartbreaking when that goal went in because you've fought so hard and you've kept them out for so long. But then they went on to win it, so they beat with eventual winners. But it was a massive day, and obviously the rivalry, and it was great to play in. I think there was a good crowd there at Hampden that day, so it was a great occasion to play in. But it's one of the ones you probably could regret. Maybe if they'd have had a goal, we could have maybe nicked it, or else Kelly might have picked us off with opening up. So you just never know.
Yeah. Final question from DMK 1985, who we don't know who this is, but
Shall get nothing else to
Gold He goes by Gold Dust. That's the name he's put when he writes it.
Brilliant. What's the one bit of advice they would give to their 16-year-old self starting out the game? Shankers, I'll go with you because that wasn't that long ago, was it?
Aye, 10 years ago. What is one bit of advice? Probably keep yourself as fit as possible at all times. Like, because there's players with loads of ability and maybe no fit, but there's also the flip side, players with no great ability, but they are fit at the top of the game and they're always playing at a high level, and that's probably one of the things I regret. No keeping myself at that as good a fitness as what I was when I was 16, 17 and letting it go a wee bit.
Yeah, Marco, what's your answer to
that? Young players need to be more patient. The one thing I'll say about young players is they get a wee taste of it for 1, 2, 5, 6, whatever game it is, and they think they made it. They just need to realise that there'll be times that they have to sit out and they have to sit in the stand or sit on the bench and watch what's going on and try and learn the game for there at times, because you can't play every week at 16-year-old, and too many players get a wee taste of it, and then when they don't play again, they go into a cream puff or their attitude goes and their fitness levels go. When it shouldn't be that way, because if you do get a chance at 16, there's a reason for it. You're good enough.
Yeah.
And there's obviously the abilities there. So it's the other side of the game that these guys need to learn. And as I say, too many people are in their heads nowadays with agents and try to move them on after 5 games, and they probably get too much too soon. And I would say the attitude's the biggest thing for me. They just need to realise that they will get there, but they just can't expect it to be too quick.
Yeah.
You just say my name if you want.
Shankers on there, 15 like you. Don't worry about it. There's loads of. Listen, I had a wee boy at Queen's Park, wee boy Regan Thompson, who was honestly, he was unbelievable ability. We end up sold up in Newcastle. We sold him in Newcastle for 50 grand. I think there was only 25 grand add-ons and stuff like that. He just didn't go to school. All he wanted to do was play football. I got him in. He wasn't allowed to put them in the first team until they got to 16. So as soon as he turned 16, I'm straight in the first team. After about 2 or 3 couple of games, I left him out and put him back on the bench. So that's you do. You put young boys in, and you take them back out. His attitude just completely and utterly changed for the worse. And at the end of the day, I couldn't wait to get him out the door, because it just wasn't for me. I couldn't be bothered with it, because he's got so much ability, but he couldn't handle being sitting out the team. He was only just turned 16, and we had guys in there that had maybe played 150 games, and he was expecting to play for them. So again, it's the patience things with young boys. And Shankers, you know what it's like. I was there at 16-year-old, exact same, when you get in, you just want to play all the time. But when you're older, you can actually use your experience to try to teach these boys that it doesn't happen as quick as that, and it shouldn't happen as quick as that, because you actually don't learn your position as a young player until you've played 50, 60, 70 games. And that's when you start learning your trade. No after 2 or 3 and think you made it. You know what I mean? So that's what I will always say to guys who are, when we're talking about kids, 15, 16, 17-year-old.
Yeah, that's a question from Mark Halliday. I just want to touch on this with Alan. Best moment at Ayr United?
Definitely I'd say the first promotion, when we get promoted up at Brecon. I played most of the games that season, and then it was a great achievement after being struggling in the first leg, and then we were getting beaten the second as well. I think wee Tiff came on for, I think Lockie done his hammy, and wee Tiff came on and scored an OG, and then and then Marco and Moff scored the goals to get us promoted. So that was a great feeling. As Marco said 3 pitch invasions, brilliant. Changing them was absolutely bouncing, and then it's one of the only times you don't mind playing away to Brecon for that bus journey all the way back to here. We were looking for diversions, we were looking for traffic jams just to stay in that bus longer. So what a day, what a feeling, and what a party we had.
Brilliant.
That's definitely the best day I had in terms of. Listen, I've played teams at once. It's won cup finals. Playing teams.
Who was that way? Did you play with Canada?
there was other man's Trouts. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Win leagues, playing Europe, but see that day up at Brecon, never be beat. Never, ever. It was just the best feeling in the world. 1-0 down, bat on the door, couldn't get that goal, and then see when I did score, it was like game over. It went 1 each, like that's it. It's all over.
You know you're winning.
It was a matter of time before we scored again, and I say we had a pitch invasion when I scored. I remember lying at the bottom of that pile, and I was like, I clotheslined the guy. I scored, I ran to the ground, I clotheslined the guy. The guy's lying on the ground. Everybody's in topies, all the fans, all the players. All I could smell was booze. It was reeking in that huddle.
Trying to lick his face.
Oh, it was Shankers, like it was you.
I was Big Junior's pre-match. Where was I can't see who's raking on every.
And then when Mov scored, there was another pitch invasion. And then when the final whistle went, it just happened again. It live with me forever. See, when I'm lying in my deathbed and sitting there covered in pee and all that, I'm still remember that.
Your deathbed, is that how you was end of the night out? That's how I met you in 1-Up.
That's the night. It's memories, and listen, you might not make millions of pounds in the game and all that, but nobody can take that away from you. It was the best day I've had.
Yeah, perfect. Next question. Ian Robb asks, how often does Mark Roberts whiten his teeth?
I don't whiten my teeth, no anymore. I used to do that when I was younger, but I don't bother anymore.
Brilliant. Another question with Marco I just want to touch on. Callum de Law passed. Does Marco regret not stepping down at Ayr before it went horribly wrong?
No, because they were paying my wages. Listen, I don't care what anybody says, because see, at the end of the day, you're going to walk away from someone and no be able to pay for your mortgage? No, and I wouldn't give you any of the satisfaction of doing that. You always think you can turn it round. That's what I will say as well. But no, I wasn't going to walk away from someone. If they wanted to get rid of me, they had to sack me. And
Marco, see on that, you're not seeing any other walk of life, any other job. Would somebody expect you to walk away for getting paid? So why is football different? I've never understood that.
In my eyes, Trouts, it isn't different, and that's what a lot of
that's your job. That's paying your mortgage. That's looking after your family. So why walk away for that money? They've gave you the contract. You're employed by them. I don't get why, because of football, you should walk away.
Yeah,
correct. And that's why I say whoever asked that question, would he see if he had maybe had a couple of months no doing his job right, or having a bad time, things weren't happening for his work, would he just walk away so he didn't get paid again? Of course he wouldn't. You've got to look at it that way. And people say that fit was different. It's no different. It's a job. At the end of the day, it's a job.
Especially if you're not getting to go to as well. You know what I mean? Just go and sit in the house for 6 months and wait the next one. You know what I mean?
Shankers, you're right. You're coming out and you're walking out into. It's not as though you're walking into another job. You're walking out into unemployment, and that's the bit that's difficult to take when you hear people asking questions like that. And I'm not having a go at the person that did ask it. You've got to think about it from a human being point of view. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to walk away from money. Certainly not.
We obviously touched on it last week a bit. Like Scotty made the point about if you had Andy Millen in a bit quicker, do you think that would have made a difference? Like I just wanted to, what I took away from that is we spoke about it when we spoke in the interview, but I just wanted to kind of ask you just about that. Do you think it would have been different if Andy was in quicker?
If I'd Andy in the first year, it was strange. Listen, David White. Listen, I'm not going to get involved in the David White situation, right? Listen, when I got offered the job, it was kind of apparent. David would come in as my assistant, but there was no money. After a few months, I was like, listen, I think we need somebody else. But there was no money there for the club to do that. So in the first year, if I had Andy Millen the first year, it meant I could have played on because I still had another year in me. Yeah. And me and Moff had a great partnership the year before, and we done really, really well together. I think if I was player manager and I could really do it with an older, experienced, stronger head on the side, it would have worked. The first year would definitely have worked out an awful lot better. And don't get me wrong, it got better the following season. We actually done quite well, and then the third season the budget was cut. It was really, really difficult. But getting somebody like Andy Millen's ilk in the first year would definitely have helped me. And again, I took the job. I couldn't turn the job down. That was another thing. I was 36. What do you say when they come to you? Nah, I don't want to take that because you don't think you might not get another chance. In hindsight, I wish I hadn't. And I wish I'd maybe went in as an assistant or I'd maybe waited another year or 2 years or whatever. And that's fine. You learn from your mistakes, or I wouldn't even say mistakes. You just go and learn from the situations that you've put yourself in. So it was a tough time to end up, but fair enough, that's football.
Mm-hmm. Just a few more. Shankers, this one's for you. What is your biggest regret in football?
Biggest regret, probably I touched on earlier about when you're no playing in that, probably no keeping yourself ticking ever. And one, when I left there, I had before I had the option to stay or the contract was up so you could go. And looking at it back now, I was probably selfish because I thought I was going to go elsewhere, on to better things. When I obviously didn't. But so when you look back on it now, you think maybe should stay, try and get back in the team, and then who knows what can happen. So probably that, because then eventually went on to go full time, which I've never had in my career. So that would have been.
Marco, how good a player was Shankers?
Brilliant. We got in I played. Do you make your debut? Well, sorry, under me anyway. You scored up at Steny, is that right?
I was against East Stirling. That was
against East Stirling. What a goal! Aye, what a goal you scored! Put it right in the top corner. Listen, Shankers' ability wasn't the issue with Shankers, and you'll be the first person to say it was probably being fitter and getting stronger at an early age and being a wee bit more patient. Because ability-wise, listen, you can see what you still do when you're playing with Talbot. The ability is brilliant. It's just the other side of it, and that's what we keep banging on to younger players: is you need to be fit. You need to always keep yourself on the top. Don't get lazy when you go away for the trip, especially if you're a part-time player. 2 nights a week's not enough. You need to go and do more. You need to be doing 3 and 4 nights a week off your own back. And a lot of players get kind of lazy, younger ones, and they think, I'll just do my 2 nights a week and I'll play on a Saturday. You have to do more. Trouts will tell you yourself is, listen, if you're not fit, you'll not play at a decent level. And listen, that's one thing I'm really, really big on is personal fitness as well. So And Scott McLaughlin, we talk about Scott as well. You look what he's doing, even at his age, he's still fit as a fiddle. So again, that's the one thing that young boys need to do more.
Trouts, William David Neelas, who is the best trainer and who is the biggest moaner in training?
The biggest moaner, there could be a few. Dad probably be up there as well. But at Alloa, Stevie Hetherington, by a country mile at Alloa, Stevie just, his head can go with the manager being the referee, and Stevie will just slaughter him and just totally lose the plot. Best trainer at Alloa, be a couple. Big Andy Graham, he's just come back for 11 months. He was on death's door. He was on the operating table waiting, and then they found out that he'd an infection in his spine, and then so they had to cancel the operation. And then what he's battled back for, to see him back playing is incredible. And then the boys that trained with Boyd Tags came here under Reedy and loaned for Hibs. And we were training. We were doing fives aside. I think it was like up kind of Richmond Park, 5 sides. And Tags had battled through. It was one of the bad winters, and it'd been snowing. So Tags had battled through for Cumbernauld to get there, and we'd already started. And we'd said, "Oh, Tags, you're late. I've already done the teams, so just go up the road, son." Right? And I'm like, he's just battled through a snowstorm to get here. And see, the thing was, into the 5-side teams, Reedy was in one and Scotty McKenzie, the assistant manager, was in the other. So I'm just like, pull one of yourselves out. But they wanted to play 5, so Tags was just sent up the road. But what a player Tags is, I can't believe that he's not playing Premier League. I thought when Goody get the St Mirren job, he was a certainty to take Tags. I don't see many better right backs, and Tags is playing centre half for us just now. I think he probably is better. He strolls it at centre half, but I think as a right back, he would easily be one of the best fullbacks in that SPL, and he should be there.
That's that thing I talk about, the amount of players doing it playing at a lower level, whether it's Championship or League One. They can step up. They just need that opportunity. And people are so scared to go down to the lower leagues and get players because there's loads and loads of them that can go and play.
That's how I thought it was strange, mate, when Goody got the job, because Goody would have worked the Tags. So I thought it was a certainty, mate. He would have took him because his ability, his delivery for wide, he's so composed on the ball. He can run all day. He's quick.
He's a good lad as well. Good attitude.
Very good attitude. Mate. So as I say, I was shocked because you see that Jack Ross, he had Boy McGinn at Dumbarton, got him at St Mirren, took him to Hibs. So it's players he knows. Yeah. So I'm surprised Jim never done that. With Tags.
Theo and boys gone for like part-time stepping up. Do you know how Alloa it's to do with like that? They've got a good job and they're making good money, so the two of them combined, they can't afford to sacrifice that to go full-time because they're not getting a wage similar to what their two earnings are making.
Definitely, mate. I think that can be a problem for a lot of boys. I think that was a problem with Big Rory, didn't he, when he was at Peterhead? He hadn't finished his apprenticeship with the plumbing. And with his plumbing wage, and then what he was getting, I think he was getting ridiculous money at Peterhead at times. And I think he knocked back like the likes of St Mirren, and I'm sure Dundee United as well. And they were desperate for him, and he was like, "Well, I'm here, I'm doing my plumbing, I'm earning good money, and I've got a family to look after." So I think at certain times in people's, probably in their life, depending what age they are, if they've got a half decent job and then the part-time money, it can, for some clubs, they can't get near what these boys are earning with the two wages combined. Definitely.
You're so right. You could go and get £300, £400 a week for 2 nights training and a game on a Saturday part-time. You could be earning £500-600 your wage. Listen, that's good. That's a grand a week. And to get that at full-time level, at the level that the guys who have been playing part-time, they'll never get a grand a week. So
maybe a top 6 team in the SPL probably to try and get something like that.
Teams like Carmarthen, teams like Kelly can't play. So, and again, it all depends on your personal situation. Some guys might, if they're staying with their mum and dad, they can take the chance to go full-time for less wages. But if you've got a house and a mortgage, kids, all that kind of thing, listen, it's a big gamble. So you've got to take that into account. But the amount of players that in the lower leagues that are good enough to go and play up, it's getting that opportunity. And a lot of them don't get it. They don't get the phone call, and it's a shame that.
Yeah, definitely. Marco, what's your highlight of playing for Kelly?
Loads, man. Just everything about it was brilliant. Just playing at that level and just playing with some top players and all. See, getting to play with guys like Burns and Stark, Duran, McCoist, McCluskey. All these guys on a different level. These guys were top players in the 80s and 90s, and even the 80s when Scottish football was at its height. I mean, these guys were stars in the days, and again, to get the opportunity to play with them, just playing in front of big crowds as well, going to Ibrox and Parkhead and stuff like that, and feeling as though that's where you belonged. And then you find yourself dropping down the levels as you get older, but again, fitness is brilliant. Whatever level you play at, see, there's nothing better than training 2 times a week or 5 times a week, and then go and kicking the ball about on a Saturday. There's not a better job. And I'll never knock. I've played at every level for Premier League right down into the juniors now, and again, you still get that exact same buzz when you wake up on a Saturday morning. You know you've got a game of football. So
definitely. Right, Jonathan McMillan asks, I'll start with you, Trouts. Who's the best player you've played with and played against?
Best player I've played with quite a few. Marco, definitely up there. I'm not just saying that because he's on there, but the more as I got older, as I played with Marco, he was probably at an age I'm at just now, and I take a lot of things for his game, playing a similar position, just kind of off that front man. As I say, similar age. So you need to use your brain a lot more. And I definitely think back to the times I played with Marco and kind of stuff that he done in the areas he got in. Very intelligent, great finisher, great on the pens as well. So when he looked after himself, he was in unbelievable shape. When I was there, he probably still is, even though he's 50. What is he now? He's not changed. He's not changed apart from that horrendous tattoo in his arm that he's got for somewhere.
Loads of them. Don't worry.
Have you? Oh, great player. But there's been a few. As I say, some boys at Alloa just now. As I say, I've spoke about them should be at a higher level. Boys that I played with at Queen's Park who went on and had very good careers. Touched on Kearney earlier. Ketch went on, played majority of his career. In the SPL, so there's quite a few. Single one out. Even going back to my early days, would you have played with Paul Harvey, Airdrie, Marco? No, did you play with Harv? Ginger, centre mid. Aye.
Oh, was it Man United?
Aye, mate, what a player.
What a footballer he was.
Harv would have been mid to late 30s when I was breaking through at Queen's Park, and there was times in training and games you would just be in awe, and you'd be like, how's he done that? And another one, great for a night out, but Harv would fall asleep in a night out leaning against a pillar. Right? He would have a pint in his hand, and as soon as I mentioned for a tenner for a round, he would still be sleeping, go into his wallet and pull out a tenner for the kitty. What a guy, but unbelievable player. And Paul Harv would be right up there.
We all know a few of them. I've got a pal called Charlie Adams, is the exact same. But no, by the way, Harvey was different class, by the way. What a player.
Shankers, who's the best player you played with?
Played with, just for where he came from to what he has done, Moffat would probably be up there. See, when like Lawrence Shankland that was it here, he's scoring all the goals and that, but I don't think Moffat got enough credit because he's the one that's doing all the dirty work, making runs in behind and that, setting him up. I think Moffat got up there. Scotty as well, 2-footed. See, I was amazed that somebody just gone and taken and swinging corners with both feet so comfortable. It's brilliant to see. Graham Wilson that I play with Auckland as well. He could definitely play higher than what he is now if he wasn't just a clown. I'm trying to think everybody that I've played with apart from Marco, so I don't have to say his name.
We touched on this, Marco. Was it still George McCluskey? That wouldn't change.
George McCluskey was the best forward I played with. He was top level. Again, this is a guy who played in the 70s and 80s. Man. He was playing massive European games for Celtic. But Burns is an all-rounder in terms of he was great footballer, but really, really tough. He was an animal in terms of just the way he wanted to play the game. He was a winner. But there's been loads of players. Durant as well, when he came to Command, a completely different player from he was when he played with Rangers. He wasn't in the box-to-box. He just sat there and played. But technically brilliant, really, really clever. There's a guy, Christophe Coquard, who was an absolute smoke at times in terms of they just couldn't be bothered. But ability-wise, he's an international. He played with Cantona, with France and Genoa and that. So it just shows you how good he was. But when he came to Kelly, he just couldn't be bothered. He just wanted to look like Buzz Lightyear and take his money and go to the road. But ability-wise, incredible, absolutely magnificent. But there was loads of good players. I would say the all-rounder was probably Burns, but McCluskey was the best striker.
Yeah, brilliant. John Parkash, what do you think about the recent journey of Darvel? Marco, you start with that.
Aye, it's brilliant. I tell you what, at least you can go and sign with Darvel and get your phone charged, and you can go and play your game. And you'll come out on your phones at 99% or 100%. Aye, John Galt was in an interview talking about that there. Honest to fucking God, man, why would you come out and say that? And I know John quite well. It's just been incredible comments. But for me, does it work in terms of they've got a lot of egos in that dressing room, and it could implode if things don't go right, and there's guys on really, really good money and they're getting told, we're going to Hereford today, but you just sit on the bench and maybe get 10 minutes. That will not happen. The guys will just they'll just no problem with that. They want to go back and play senior as quick as possible, especially if the results don't go well for them. And the way the league's all set up, and the fact that there's a likelihood there's not going to be any promotion and stuff like that, I don't think it will sit right with a lot of them. I heard a few of their interviews saying, we're here to win things. Come on, these are guys that can play in the Championship and at the very minimum League One in Scotland, and they want to go and play with Darvel. I don't buy into that. I don't get that attitude. I think you should play as high up as you could possibly play for as long as possible. But fair enough if you're playing with somebody in the Championship and you get a great offer for League One or League Two because it's great money. Maybe drop down a level, but these guys are dropping down 4 and 5 levels, and it doesn't sit right with me. I don't understand it, but. Will it work? I don't know. You're maybe better asking Shank as well. He's been in the juniors longer. I think it's difficult for these players to go and win every game the way that they think they're going to win it. I don't think it will happen.
Shankers, are you into that?
I do need to watch what I'm saying because I might need to go there if the money dries up along that. So I need to keep my options open. I don't know if I can take a pay cut though. That's the only thing. No, but. Listen, there's teams in the past that have tried to do it. Listen, if you put money into it, they're obviously trying to, with the pyramid system now, they're obviously trying to go up through the levels, and that's maybe the way they want to go about it. Does it work? As Marco's saying, we sign too many good players. It's like he's signing good players and then just putting them in the team and try to like just get them in the 11 and play a team run about all the good players. I don't know. It's a hard one to comment. I think you need to kind of. It's all the league below. Everybody knew they were going to kind of go and win it. I think.
Shankers, me and you win that league.
Me, you and Ali Brun. I think if the league goes back to normal and all the teams are in it for a full season, it would be good to see what the outcome is at the end of the season. I would still fancy your chances, like.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Trouts, who do you think's been the breakthrough player in Scottish football this season?
Breakthrough player?
Kevin Nisbet.
That's a great shout, Shankers. Like, I played against Big Nizzy last year when he was at Dunfermline, and I thought he was the best player in the league, and I wasn't surprised to get the move to Hibs. And I think if he keeps up the way he's going, he'll be probably down south very, very soon, because his all-round game is very, very good. He's got everything you would look for in a striker, and I was surprised he wasn't in the last couple of Scotland squads. I thought he would have got in there because Steve Clarke's showed that he'll take boys to the Championship, and when Shanklin was at Dundee United, he get put in. So I'm surprised that this season when Nisbet making a step up to Hibs, he's not got a wee shot at the Scotland squad. When you see like Callum Patterson and stuff, that to me Nisbet's a better player than him, and I think he come on the other night, Patterson up front and then get moved to right back, and then I mean, so for me Nisbet's a better player than Patterson. Paterson's obviously a very good career down south and stuff, but for me that's a great shout for Shankers. Big boy Nisbet is a very, very good player.
Definitely. Last two questions. Tommy asks, do you think folk will stop criticising Steve Clarke for trying to make Scotland like an international version of Kelly now? Marco, you've obviously watched a lot of Kilmarnock over the past couple of years. Like, what do you think now? Do you think kind of Steve Clarke will get the recognition?
He should, because we've been through 6 managers that kind of get us to a national tournament. By all accounts, it was probably a wee bit easier to get to these tournaments nowadays. But what he done at Kilmarnock was he went in there and made it as basic as he possibly could for the players. He didn't ask players to do things they couldn't do. And what he's done with Scotland is he's probably back to a bit of more old-fashioned kind of style, which we need to play because we're not good enough to go and pass the ball the way that the likes of even Belgium and Spain and all these teams can do. We can't do that. We've got to play to our strengths. If we've got a focal point in somebody like that, you get it up to them and you go and play a certain way and you go and work hard the way we did the other night there and make it hard for teams, which we have been doing. So listen, Steve Clark's done a great job in terms of he's got Scotland a wee bit of an identity again, and he can't get any criticism because he's got us to a tournament.
Yeah. Final question. I'm just going to.
It was embarrassing if they didn't get to Euros because they're actually making up tournaments just so Scotland can get to major tournaments. Making up Nations League and that just to get us there.
The Nando's Cup. Let's get 2 draws and a defeat in the Nando's Cup and you're at the World Cup.
Brilliant. Last question. Just want to ask. A few folk have asked this. Stephen Nicol, Mark Wilson's obviously asked this. We're very good friends of the show. Yep. Who do you think could come in and out of the 23 for the Euro squad in June? Alan, I'll start with you.
Well, I would, as I've touched on, I would say the boy Nisbet. He's got a great chance. If he keeps up his form, he's scoring goals almost every week at Hibs, playing at a very good level. So I would say he's got to be in the reckoning. Get yourself there.
Mm-hmm. Marco?
I'd go McCrory.
Right.
He's got a wee bit of everything about him. He's added goals to his game as well. He can play in loads of different positions. He's comfortable in the middle. He can play on the side. And if you play a certain way, he could even go back into defence. He's a big, strong lad. He's got an awful lot to offer. He's still a kid. But as I say, he's stepped up to the level of playing week in, week out at Aberdeen. And again, he could have sat there at Rangers and not got a game and earned decent money, but he wants to go and play. And he's definitely one I think we'll see in the Scotland squad very soon.
Definitely. Shankers, who you got?
I'll go Lewis Ferguson for Aberdeen. I think he's probably arguably the hardest position to get in the Scotland squad. They're very strong in the middle of the park, but he's adding goals and he's got a bit of everything. But as I said, those Rangers on the other side. Scotland are top heavy in the middle of the park with a load of talent. So it'll be hard to get in the team. But I think like England and that, they always took a couple of young ones, maybe inexperienced in the squad. And I think if Scotland's going to do that, I think Lewis Ferguson might be one of them.
Definitely. I'm going to go for Billy Gilmour. I just think Billy Gilmour, if he gets a run in the team at Chelsea, we saw the other night, did you see his red card?
Aye.
Rubbish, wasn't it? Shocking. But I think Billy Gilmour, he was, before he got injured at Chelsea, he was looking at like an absolute stick on to kind of break through there. But I'm going to go for Billy Gilmour.
That'll do. Step in and play, definitely. It's very soon. Whether it'll be after the European Championships, but we'll start seeing him getting in the team. Because you can't play at that level and no getting it.
Definitely.
It's easy when you've got Werner and players like that in front of you to play to instead of Callum Paterson's Tash.
The big Mexican was brilliant the other night there. I can't believe he took his sombrero off before he came on.
I thought he was going to get subbed back off.
I was hoping. No, listen, the big guy come on, done a turn for us, on as a striker and then ends up right back. So, listen, he's part of that squad, so we can't give anybody a hard time with that. So,
brilliant.
Apart from it looks like Mexican who was eating burritos.
Brilliant. But that'll do us for this week. Thanks very much to Shankers again for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No worries, mate.
Alan, thank you. Brilliant. You enjoyed your time on the show?
Oh, brilliant, mate. Thanks very much for inviting us. As I say, made it easy for two boys that I knew, and it was a good laugh. Enjoyed it.
Brilliant, mate. Marco, just
happy Wednesday. We've been on here for 4 days. Some calls last an hour. We've been on here. Honest to God, I can't believe how long this has been. I've just watched the Godfather trilogy.
Is that when you come back on?
I'll come back on, but no, I don't know. You're annoying me, Scott. Nah, I'm only kidding. No, it's an absolute pleasure. It's good to see Shankers' staff face and great to see the old Trouten there. Top boy.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, boys. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Yeah, see you.